figures. 81 minutes in one particular month in favour of the pro-repeal side, only 4 minutes for the pro-life side. You can see that the broadcasting authority has abjectly failed as well. And where is the criticism of these organisations? Not a whisper. So this is the situation that we find ourselves in. Decades of relentless propaganda against the right to life. Politicians changing their positions on a whim and alienating and isolating those that support the right to life. Institutions that are not even able to uphold the law. And a country, sadly, where many of our fellow friends, family, neighbours and citizens have been essentially hoodwinked by media propaganda. It's no surprise, sadly, that we've ended up with the result that we did in May of this year. And I think we have a slide of where it all ended up. Who can forget that spectacle of a mob gathered to cheer in the removal of rights to innocent people? And this group of ministers here, including the Taoiseach, all of whom, in particular the Taoiseach, told us that it would not be a cause for celebration, that there would be no celebratory displays if the amendment was repealed. And here he is, presiding over a party that I can only describe as a revolting spectacle. So where do we find ourselves now? We have legislation that is being moved through the Oireachtas with indecent haste. We have a situation where the very individuals mentioned there, who are the first to complain about, and legitimately, the problems we've seen in this country in the past in places like Tuam, about the burial without dignity of human remains. These are the individuals who have brought forward legislation that make no protection for the remains of children who will be aborted as a result of this legislation. These individuals we saw a moment ago during the course of the referendum campaign promised us that there were protections in the law that would prevent discrimination against disabled children, and they do not exist at all. And finally then, these individuals promised us that conscience would be protected, and we'll hear from doctors later in relation to that. And there's not a single reference genuinely to protection of conscience. There is a conscientious protection clause that in fact what it requires doctors to do then is to refer individuals on for abortion. So you don't have to perform it, but you have to make sure that somebody who will perform it is on standby. And that is a monstrous hypocrisy, ladies and gentlemen. And I think what we'll have to see now is increasingly pressure put on by all of us in this room and throughout the pro-life movement on politicians to accept the amendments that are being put forward to ensure that this law, that some of the worst aspects of this law are tempered. And then finally, a message to some of the politicians that were on a journey. I think we have to be very clear that we are not on a journey, that we are standing by the rights of the unborn child, the most vulnerable person in our society. They want to see this movement disappear completely. They want a situation like the New York Times declared in 1973 after Roe v. Wade, that the abortion question was settled. It's not settled, ladies and gentlemen, because we're not going. Those people we saw on the stage there a moment ago in the photograph, the overall this government, they will own the new culture that they're ushering into this country. Every remains that are not buried with dignity, every person's conscience that is violated, every disabled child unfairly targeted by abortion, that is their legacy. And it's our job to hold them to account for that legacy. And that is precisely the we are in a different country. A dramatic change has been ushered does not mean that we are going to stop articulating and defending the truth, speaking out for those who are most vulnerable. We have seen in other countries where they've introduced abortion that legacy has been challenged, that the right to life is now being discussed in more strident terms, and that changes are afoot. We look over to the United States and we see what's happening there. More young people than ever are involved in their pro-life movement. We cannot allow the forces that would impose the destruction of life to succeed and to be triumphant. Our project has not ended. It starts again anew this year in difficult circumstances, but renewed determination to make sure that the voices of the unborn, those that will be targeted unfairly, are articulated by us. And what we need to be happy about is the numbers of young people that have come forward to join this movement over the course of the referendum. It is not all doom and gloom. It is certainly a challenge. But as time goes on, I am confident that we will not see a situation where people shirk away from that challenge. We will see a situation, as we've seen in the United States, with more